السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. صدق الله العظيم. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, in my previous khutbah I had talked about how to deal with uncertainty in life. Because of this current situation that we are going through right now, there's a lot of things that they consume our mind. That what's going to happen in the future? What's going to be the economic situation in the future? What's going to happen to the Muslim situation here in America? What's going to happen to our children? And there are times when parents and people of the community, they call me and they say that, is there anything that I can recite? Any dua that I can read that can help my situation? There are so many uncertainties, give me a dua I can recite. There are so many du'as that we can recite There are du'as that we find in the Quran, there are du'as that we find in the seerah, in the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And of course, when it comes to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then many times we have to go back to the hadith. And if we find the hadith, if we don't find the hadith, but the Quran is in front of us. And I want to share with you today just 2 du'as that we can recite every day, every time. Because both of these du'as, they are both from the story of Musa alayhi salam. The very first du'a is of Musa alayhi salam. When he comes, he escapes Egypt, and he comes all the way to a place, a very unknown place, which is called Madian. He has no clue, he has no idea, he knows no one there. And the Quran says that he went, and what he saw was that there were 2 women. He saw that there were 2 women that they had their animals with them. Besides that, everyone else there were men, and they were powerful, they were strong physically. And so they were opening and they were removing this big stone from the top of the well, and they were feeding their animals and giving water and taking water home. But here you have 2 women, and so this was already very peculiar to Musa alayhi salam. Why are they here? Why aren't the men there? But nonetheless, the Quran tells us that he went and he helped them out. And then after helping them out, what's next? What's next? He knows no one. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a spouse. He has nothing going for him. And he sits in a corner, and the Quran says that he made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khayrin faqir. Oh Allah, whatever good you send towards me, I'm okay with it. Oh Allah, send some good my way. I've escaped Egypt. There I committed a crime unknowingly, unintentionally. And now I've come here, I have nothing going for me. And he kept on making this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just in a short period of time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent one of those girls to come and call Musa alayhi salam. And she says that my father is calling you. And he went and he talked to the father. And the father said that I want you to marry one of my daughters. And not only that, but I'm willing to give you a job. So think about this. This one dua, he never had a job. Musa alayhi salam did not have a job. Allah gave him a job. Not just 1 year, 2 years, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed that he gave him job security. 10 years he's going to be employed by this man. Not only that, he never had a spouse. Now he has a spouse. He had no place to live. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a place. He never had a family. Allah gave him a family. Whatever he did not have, and all the uncertainties that he was overwhelmed with, Allah removed all those uncertainties, and he gave him, because of this dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him what he had. So this is a dua that you and I, we should all recite. The second dua that I want to quickly go through is the dua when Musa alayhi salam, when he received prophethood. The very first dua that he made was what? Rabbi shrahli sadri wa yassir li amri. What does this mean? A lot of times, only those who are giving talks, when you're giving a lecture, when you have to speak, then people, they usually read this dua. But brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you that anytime there's any kind of doubts in your heart, nervousness in your heart, anxiety in your heart, read this dua. Why? Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He expands someone's chest, that nervousness is gone, that anxiety is gone. Musa alayhi salam is saying that you want me to go back in the lion's den. You want me to go back to this tyrant, and there's already a warrant out of arrest for me. You want me to go back to that man and give him da'wah and tell him to free the people that he has enslaved? There's a lot of nervousness in the heart of Musa alayhi salam. There's a lot of anxiety there. This is where Musa says alayhi salam, Rabbi shrahli sadri, oh Allah, expand my chest. Because in another ayah of the Quran, Allah says, فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. When Allah wants to guide someone, Allah expands their chest. But when Allah wants to misguide someone, يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا. Allah says that He makes their heart tight and constricted. Imam Shafi'i says, rahmatullahi alayh, based on this dua, he says that this dua also means that, oh Allah, expand my chest so that even if there are criticisms that come my way, I'm willing to bear those criticisms. We find another ayah of the Quran where Allah is telling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, فَاصْدَعْ بِمَا تُؤْمَرْ. In fact, he says, وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمْ. We know. It's not that we are unknown. We know very well. أَنَّكَ يَضِيقُ صَدَرُكَ. Your chest can be tightened. Why? Because of the things, the criticism that you get. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَكُمْ مِنَ السَّاجِدِينَ. Be amongst those who are worshipping Allah, and Allah will remove those things from you. And then He says, يَا رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي. Oh Allah, help me in my matters. Brothers and sisters, this is a dua that we should be making every day. Oh Allah, any matter that I'm associated with, oh Allah, make it easy for me. Today, a lot of times, we don't know what kind of dua to make. The Prophet ﷺ was passing by a man. He's making dua to Allah. Oh Allah, grant me sabr. Grant me sabr. The Prophet ﷺ said, no, don't make this dua. Don't make this dua. Why? Because sabr comes after a calamity. It's as if you're asking Allah for a calamity, then you will exercise patience. This is wrong. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling him that ask for afiyah, ask for peace, ask for safety. This is what we should be making dua for. So this is why in this dua, وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي. Oh Allah, make my matter easy for me. وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي. This knot on my tongue. You know when a person is nervous? When a person is nervous, they cannot speak. You know how many times people go for a job interview? They're so nervous. Are they going to say the right thing? Or are they going to say the wrong thing? When you are nervous, you cannot speak properly. This is, you are asking Allah that give me the ability to speak what is right, to say what is right, يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي, so that the person in front of me can understand me too. So this is a dua that we should all be making. These are very powerful duas that we find in the Quran, and it is a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has shared these duas of the Anbiya in the Quran so that you and I, we can benefit from them. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove anxiety, nervousness from our heart. And by the way, this dua, you can recite it anytime. A person, a young person who's about to go and apply or just even send out an interview or send out a request to get accepted into a university, you can recite this dua. Any person who's about to go for a job interview, you can recite this dua. Anytime you are told you're put in a difficult situation, a student has to give a presentation at school, you can read this dua. Anything that brings nervousness, whenever you are nervous or you have anxiety, read this dua. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring peace in our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the uncertainties. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring our heart at peace in every single situation in our life. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fi Qur'an al-Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum lati wa dhikr al-Hakim. Astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa li sa'il muslimin fastaghfiru innahu al-Ghafur Rahim. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أما بعد. I want to quickly, I know we're a little over time, I want to quickly just mention one thing. Due to the current political climate that we are living in right now, we know that the election season is just around the corner. Now I understand that a lot of times within the community we all have our own opinions, and all of our opinions are very different from one another. But there's no doubt in the fact that in this country, living in this country, the only way you can exercise your voice and the only way you can voice out is when you go to the polling stations and you have to vote. Today, one of the things that I see within the Muslim community is that we are very quick in complaining. We're very quick in complaining, but we don't want to do anything about the situation. And I want to be very clear also, when we go and when we vote, it's not about who's right and who's wrong. Who's right and who's wrong? We're not in an Islamic country. We're living in a situation where there is going to be some good and there will probably be some bad on both sides. But at this situation, we look at this situation and we go back to the seerah of the Prophet when the Muslims went to Abyssinia. The Najashi gave them refuge in Abyssinia. But then there was a conflict between he and his nephew. And the Najashi, he called the Muslims and he said that if I am defeated, then this is a ship, this is your arrangements, leave this country immediately. Because your survival is at risk. Your survival is at risk. And the Muslims there at that time, they would go and they were in touch with what is going on in that battle between the Najashi and his nephew. They were keeping a close eye on the situation. As Muslims, we cannot be oblivious. We have to know what is going on in our town, what is going on in our city. We have to be up to date. A Muslim cannot live in their bubble and expect to make a change. It does not happen like that. But in this day and age, what we need to think about is what Najashi told the Muslim at that time too, that it's about the survival. Today, which person that we will go and who we vote for, and we cannot mention who you can vote for and not vote for. But at the same time, what we need to think as Muslims is that whoever we vote for, and you go and you vote, because it's about right now, about our children, about our future, and about our survival here in this country. You look at the injustices today, the African American community, they're under so much injustice. We just saw the verdict about Breonna Taylor and how wrong it is and how there's so much injustices. And if you and I, we just sit back and we say that let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take care of it. No, brothers and sisters, going and voting is your way of tying the camel. You do what you have to do and you leave the rest in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So please, on your way out, if you are not registered to vote, there are 3 to 4 tables outside. Go pick up a card, get registered, and go. Inshallah, when the chance comes, do go and vote. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our upcoming generations. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our future bright here in this country. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصرنا على من خالفنا واحفظ بلادنا وأصلح أولادنا واشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا وخذ بأيدينا إلى كل خير وعصمنا من كل شر واحفظنا من كل ضير اللهم قسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن يقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا ومتعنا بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحيتنا واجعله الوارث منا واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا وانصرنا على من عادانا ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا إلى النار مصيرنا ولا تسلط علينا من لا يرحمنا آمين رب العالمين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. One row at a time, inshallah. First row. Sorry. Second row. Alhamdulillah, how are you? Third row. Next row. Next row.